on this, the 14th of the series on spiritual aloneness for vowed religious and for promised celibates and those considering these wonderful states of life, we draw something from St. Charles de Foucault. But let's take a moment just to sit quietly in the presence of God. St. Charles de Foucault writes these beautiful words: "My Lord and my God, help me to find all of my joy in endlessly repeating your praise." And in quotation marks then, "You are entirely perfect, and you I love without limit." You are entirely perfect, and you I love without limit. There are two things, I think, for us who have this spiritual aloneness with vows or promises or considering those states of life. The one that I find so powerful is all of my joy in endlessly repeating your praise. I think the state of life that we adopted allows us in some ways to hear words like all of my joy in a special way. We don't in a way have to qualify that as much with the joy that people who are in deeply committed relationships have to all of my joy. Well, what does that say to the spouse? But for us, there's this way in which there is a fullness of heart that's turned over to the Lord, and we've vowed that, or we've promised that we will encounter our joy in God. But here specifically, repeating your praise and praising God and in finding, God as so good, so holy, so wonderful. And in doing that, it really makes our lives focused on praising God into such blessed realities. We find joy in this life because we find joy in praising God. And then the other phrase that really captures my heart is "you I love without limit." And to think that in our hearts that this life where there's this aloneness is meant to love more, if we possibly can, this God who loves us so much. To love without limit. We will not be able to love without limit until we pass into the next life. But to the degree we experience this love that comes from God, we can in a real way love God with the very love God has for God. And so God's love is limitless, and we get to, in one way or another, become a part of that. And therefore, when we say "you I love without limit," it's something that we want to do. We may not be capable quite yet of, but we get a taste of it as we experience the limitless love of God for us, and we return that limitless love of God back to God. What a wonderful gift our lives are because we can praise God so endlessly.